Hey, it's Apoorva Pande here. This video is about systems for focus. Now, the core reason we're doing all these videos is to take you from a manager of a big team to team of teams, and that's where we want you to get to in your founder journey. So eventually you can run a business of businesses like a lot of our higher tier people do, and I do as well. Let's get into it. So not yet, but in a minute, we're going to get into different focus systems that we use to get people from $1 million to 10 million a year in revenue in their tech companies. And what you really need to understand about focus is it's really about having the right mindset for growth. And if you're here, you probably want to grow your company. You probably don't give up until you do. And we want to make sure that if you ever feel like you're not learning, you don't have the ability to put more effort into things, or your just willingness to learn from mistakes is kind of going away, the feedback loops are kind of dying, you're probably missing a growth mindset. And I highly recommend reading Carol Dweck's book, Mindset, watching her TED Talk, identifying how scientifically she established that people can hit their goals consistently and not just let them kind of get away from them. Because when goals get away from us, life starts getting away from us and we stop feeling like ourselves. So I don't want that happening for you. So before we get into all the systems, think about all of this with a growth mindset. Be willing to learn, be willing to increase the effort that you have, and be willing to learn from your mistakes. Maybe there's other videos you've watched in the past and you haven't really applied any of them. Or maybe there's other videos you've watched in the past and you've maybe just said, that was some nice information, but what do they really know? This, what I'm about to give you in a second from now, is exactly the systems that we put into people's lives to help them go to $10 million a year. And so if that's one of your goals with your company, and it's not just $10 million, it's $10 million profitably. Like, these people they have sustainable businesses. They haven't raised money, most of them. They live a very different life. They have full control over everything they have. And if you have a recurring revenue business, $10 million a year is like, it's like $50 to $100 million of your net worth. Like, it's a lot. It's a lot that you get from being able to do this. So when you go through this system, think about from that perspective, like, hey, am I able to grow who I am in order to overcome the challenges that are ahead of me? Because if the challenge seems daunting now, when I grow, it won't seem like that big of a deal. And so that's really why we're getting into this mindset stuff before we go into actually what we're talking about, those subsystems. So approach this with that state in mind, and let's get into the exact systems that we use to get people the focus they need to get to that 10 million. So here's about 8 systems that I want to go over. Obviously, I can't give you everything. So drop a comment below if you have any questions on this stuff, and feel free to look at one of our masterminds for working with me a little more personally on this stuff. But let's get into it really quick. 100 units of time audit is the first system we're going to be talking about. Most founders don't know where their time goes. And if they do know where their time goes, they're not applying it in a highly leveraged state. Elon Musk runs a bunch of different companies, is worth $100 billion, and he still has the same 24 hours a day. And so the difference for him is his focus, and the difference for him is his systems. That's what's probably what separates you from him, unless you're Elon Musk watching this. That, hi, great to meet you. But if you're not, 100 units of time audit. Auditing what you do every hour of your waking time, and then assessing, hey, was this hour useful? Was this the per hour task that I wanted to do? Like, what was it, a $10 per hour task? Can I pay someone $10 to do this? Was it a $100 per hour task? Maybe it's a $10,000 per hour task if you have a little bit more money that you can spend. What is this task really worth, not just to me, but to the business, to our employees, their impact, to how many customers we have, to helping those customers out? What are those things? So you want to measure all this stuff. There's another video somewhere called 100 Units of Time Audit that you can probably watch on our channel. If it's not up yet, again, comment below and we'll make sure to get that re-uploaded for you. Okay, the second one is RICE prioritization. Intercom does this really interesting thing where they stop prioritizing everything inside of a manager's head. And remember, we're getting you from a manager to operator, right? So to act like an operator, you want to make sure decisions are made without you in the room. And so this RICE prioritization process identifies reach, impact, confidence, and effort, and then creates a composite score that you can attach to each of your projects to identify what is the highest priority and when should you schedule this. And can your team find out what the highest priority is and schedule it without you. If so, then instead of assessing, hey, are they working on the right thing, you can assess, hey, are they going through this process properly? Okay. The next one we're going to talk about is weekly cash obsession. Anytime someone's not growing sustainably, anytime someone's worried about money, anytime someone feels off, I get them to look at cash weekly. If it's been off for too long, I get them to look at cash daily. What a lot of therapists prescribe to people that aren't on top of their game, they're not functional, for lack of a better term, they expose them slowly to the things that they're shying away from that can make their life better. Knowing how much cash you have is absolutely key. Okay, because you can plan for a lot of things. There's going to be no surprises, but there's this massive anxiety that goes away when you know how much cash you have. Okay, looking at this weekly is absolutely key. If you have like a bunch of different accounts, have a report that comes out that has all the different bank accounts. If you don't have a bunch of different accounts, but there's a lag, like have someone create a report for you if you can't do it. Look at your cash once a week. It's absolutely key. Okay, the next one here is your revenue and cash on hand goal. If you're not hitting your goals consistently, sometimes founders will stop hitting goals. And I get it. Projections don't really mean that much when you don't hit them. And so people stop projecting. But when they stop projecting, they stop getting that feedback loop of, hey, am I getting closer or further away from the intention I set for this company? Maybe you've been doing it for a couple of years. Maybe you've been doing it for 10 years. Maybe you've been longer. And if you lose that sense of, I'm going to set this goal and then I'm going to accomplish it, and then I'm going to set another goal and I'm going to accomplish it again, you lose that muscle that is achieving something, that muscle that is commitment, the muscle that is, get out of my way, I'm getting it done. And when you started this company, you might have had that muscle because you probably set a goal when you started the company to start the company, and you got some customers and be where you are right now. And so going back to that, absolutely key. And for a lot of you, this is stuff you probably already know, but when you lock in these systems and you keep them consistent, the revenue starts being consistent. The cash on hand starts being consistent. You start having a predictable business that you can grow sustainably. And so reminding you and recreating or establishing or strengthening that process in your brain, the neurons firing, is going to be absolutely key for you to grow to that next level. And a lot of managers don't feel like letting go because they don't feel like they can hold their team accountable to certain P&L goals. Your marketing team might be over budget. Your product team is probably over budget. And giving them the ability to set these revenue and cash on hand goals and then holding them accountable to it because you've held yourself accountable to it is a key piece of getting to that next level. Okay. After this is a personal budget versus actual analysis. Founders sometimes do really well on the business side, but don't do that well on the personal side. And when you're not taking care of the personal stuff, it will get in the way of your business stuff. If you don't have enough cash for not just the basics, but also the small luxuries that make life worth living, and maybe gifts, maybe something that you give your family or friends, or keeping you, something that keeps you a part of the tribe that's around you. If you're not setting your budget and looking at the actuals of what you actually spend, this can get away from us. And I don't know about you, but life is a lot more fun when you can live life and run your business at the same time. And that's a goal for a lot of us. A lot of people in the program, in the mastermind that we have, they're very family focused. And it's, you can run a business without a family, that's fine. But I mean, there's a different level of fulfillment when you can do both. And so we want to make sure you can get that. Okay, after this, preset time off each quarter. Everybody always tells me, Apoorva, I don't need to take vacations. My work is my vacation. My hobby is my work. I love this thing. And then what they don't tell me sometimes, and then I'll find out later, especially when they're not hitting goals or something's happening, is that they don't feel great every single day because the human body is not a machine. It's not just going to feel amazing every single day. 10 to 30% of your time, you're going to feel like crap. Okay, 10 to 30% of your time, you're going to feel like quitting. You're going to feel like this isn't worth it. You're going to feel like, I'm not sure if I can do it. Am I the right person to do this? Am I in the right niche? Am I in the right whatever? Like the brain goes crazy. The insanity of the mind, the Buddha's always laughing because he's laughing at the insanity of the mind that comes up 10 to 30% of the time, maybe higher for some of you. And what I recommend to people is if you're going to feel like crap 10 to 30% of the time of the year, at least 10%, take that time off. 1 week a quarter, take that time off. Spend it at the beach. If you're going to feel like crap, you might as well feel like crap on vacation, because believe it or not, you'll start feeling better faster when you're on vacation. So 1 week of no laptop, ideally no phone. It's hard to do for a lot of people. I go on silent meditation retreats. I go on like brain training things where you have no phone. I do dopamine fasts. There's a lot of different things you can do to ensure that you don't have it. Some people go on like hikes up volcanoes and what have you. But if you can give yourself that, you will come back to work with a renewed sense of vigor, a renewed energy. You will sprint the quarter instead of jogging it or walking it or taking naps or watching Netflix during it. So the preset time off each quarter is absolutely key. And you'll hear it now. You might have heard it before. We make sure we keep saying it because this startup thing, this tech company thing, it's a long journey. And it's absolutely necessary to get reinvigorated throughout it. So come back to this video if you need a reminder for this. Remember the timestamp or write it down if you can. It's absolutely key to have preset time off each quarter. And this isn't like, oh, I'm burnt out, so now I'm going to take time off. Be intentional about it. Know that you're going to have ups and downs because, again, you're not a machine. Okay, and allocate for it. Okay, next is non-interruptive communication. There's nothing worse when you're in your flow, you're in your zone, you're getting stuff done, and someone pings you with a fire on Slack, or someone emails you and about what have you, your credit card statement is due or whatever, something comes up, right? You don't want to be thrown off. And so default when you're working, your phone should be on do not disturb mode. Throw it in a drawer or a different room. Your Slack should be off. Your email should not be being checked. Default, you should have open spaces of massive productivity. If you do this, you can focus on your journey to 10 million. If you don't do this, it'll be like an erratic journey to 10 million. The people around you will be a little erratic, little almost adrenaline junkie-ish, looking for that next ping of dopamine from these notifications. It's not a fun way to build a business. You want a calm business. If you want a calm business, start getting used to having non-interruptive communication. Okay, lastly is thinking time and deep work time. There's a video on our channel called The Key to Founder Freedom. These two are the keys to founder freedom. Thinking time is a great book. It's a concept in a great book called The Road Less Stupid by Keith Cunningham. It shows you how to prevent a lot of the stupid things that happen in a business by just going through this process. You want to do that once a week. The other book I recommend is Deep Work by Cal Newport. Prolific people set aside time to get work done, long chunks, at least 3 hours. Not because they're highly disciplined and it's amazing, although they probably are. It's more that your brain doesn't shift into flow naturally unless there's 3 hours of no dopamine hits. Okay, you need that time to really get to that deepest level, not just of productivity, but deepest level of yourself. And when you know that you're at that deeper level, you'll know what you actually want, what you actually need, what you actually value. Those three things will be aligned. And then work and output and writing and creativity becomes effortless. So you want to make sure you get those things into your life. Okay, so here are the 8 systems: 100 units of time, RISE prioritization, weekly cash obsession, revenue and cash on hand goal, personal budget and actual analysis, preset time off each quarter, non-interrupted communication, and then thinking time and deep work time. And so on the right, you're probably seeing this status thing with check marks and question, the little emoji there, and then a little exclamation mark. I like tracking this stuff. Maybe make your own thing. Maybe if you join the mastermind, you'll be making one of these for you. And just red, yellow, green. Red is not completed or not started. Yellow is incomplete, or in progress, and green is you're done and you're doing it. That's a part of your life and lifestyle, and you're able to focus. The more of these you have checked off, the happier and more sustainable you will be on your journey from going to manager to operator, millions to tens of millions, and life will change. That's what I got for you guys. Comment below, like, subscribe, and reach out to us if you want to consider joining one of these programs, one of these masterminds that we have to help you guys scale. And you can also just reach out if you just want a quick assessment on your focus systems and how you take yourself through life. These focus systems, like, I assume that, most founders are pretty focused, right? But what I found is if you leave a corporate environment or you leave a different company where you had business partners, or you've been doing your business for a while, there's certain structures that are in place in these companies that keep you motivated, keep you entertained, keep you excited, keep you creative, keep you energized. And when you have your own company and you're running your own company, or maybe you're working remotely, these structures kind of start going away. They start deteriorating because there's no object permanence around them. There's no HR department that's reinforcing these things consistently. And so you really have to build this within you so you don't go external to get what you need. It comes from a place of internal. And then you can begin to affect the world versus the world affecting you. And so these focus systems are absolutely necessary to get to that next level. If you watch any of our testimonial videos, any of the interviews that we have with our founders, the number one thing they say that shifted them from going from doing okay to doing well, from millions to tens of millions, is this shift in where they get these systems from. And so if you're not doing it right now, I implore you to do something. Maybe, put it on your calendar to start working on this stuff. Talk to someone about it. Do something other than just learning and not just applying. Okay. Like, actual learning is taking something in internally and then changing the way you approach the world because of it.